Skills and perks are the fundamental parts of what makes Fallout New Vegas an RPG. It represents your personality and defines your playstyle throughout the game. But let's say you throw all of them out the window and embrace the true person behind that screen like I did. What if you try beating Fallout New Vegas with no skills or perks? You already know the rules. The goal is to beat the game without any skills or perks. You may ask, how in the easy pit am I going to give myself no skills or perks whatsoever? But before I answer that, let's get through with the intro. I was woken up by Doc Mitchell, named my scale skillless. Since it sounded edgy, disabled some game-changing mobs, and went to assign my special stats. I was originally going to train everything down to 1 and proceed, but the game wouldn't let me progress like that. So I assigned it randomly. We will skip the part where I chose my tag skills. Not like it matters anyways. I chose Trigger Discipline and Wild Wasteland as my traits, as it didn't seem to affect my skill anyways, and finally stepped outside into the Mojave Wasteland. So, regarding the question earlier, I simply used console command to turn myself into a retard. You simply type player.4cav, the skill you want to modify, and then the number you desire. As for the special stats, you type mod PCA, then the special stat you desire, and then you lower its current value by typing minus number, and that's about it. I didn't make my special stat 0 since it might break the game. After all of that typing, the game finally began. I entered the saloon, met Sunny Smiles. She showed me how to shoot bottles. I also noticed that my reloading and unholstering is considerably kind of slower than the process of teaching old people how to use an iPhone for the first time. This proved to be a challenge itself during this playthrough. Entered the saloon again to find Joe Cobb in the middle of an argument, met Jet to trade some shit I didn't need and buy some stim packs. I decided to help Ringo eliminate the threat skip creeping up to him by recruiting Sunny Smiles, but also went one step ahead and sent Joe Cobb to the afterlife, looted him and hid away his body. The town was then attacked by the Powder Gangers, and this is where I realized being a retard in the wasteland wouldn't really help you. Their melee attacks sent me flying and depleted my health really quickly. Ringo and the gang handled the main job, and I started making my way toward the strip. Changed the difficulty into very easy, since this is about beating New Vegas with no skills or perks, not beating it on the hardest difficulty. The Powder Gangers were sent to God in one shot with the single shotgun. It was oddly satisfying. Leveled up and chose intense training as my perk, and then leveled down myself and decreased my strength stat back down to 1. I would be choosing the same perk every time I level up, since it was easy to modify my stat. I played around with the dead body for a while, and then made my way to Hidden Valley for future's sake. Multiple box scorpions started assaulting me, so I clapped their cheeks harder than my mom slapping my butt with her broomstick. I deliberately stayed away from the mine, and one f***ing deathclaw still found his way to jump me, and this was my first death. I tried a different route and got lost into the Black Mountain, and sent my unintentional regard to the mutant. These mutants were a bitch to fight against, and I was almost sent to God Howard in an intense fight. Some careful shooting and covering did do the trick, and I looted anything I could find. I made my way to a 188 trading post to get Veronica, and to slip through the night for I couldn't make out shit in the dark. Veronica would later be the key for this run, mainly because she was the mischief and also the main skullbreaker. I arrived at Camp McCarran, listened to Corporal William f*** you and your fake hair inspecting bullshit, complain about the fake hair inspecting bullshit, so some of my stuff, and took the train to the strip, but not before being shot at in the face. Victor welcomed me at the strip, and it was time to confront Penny. Handing my weapons away was unnecessary, so I performed several magic tricks on how to relieve your body of your soul on several chairmen. Veronica got unconscious. I took away Penny's life and his Maria, got the platinum chip, and deal with the rest. I gotta say, despite seeing several dead bodies, people here still gamble. Priorities. I leveled up twice, and then went to Penny's room to find Yes Man. Long story short, I decided to side with Yes Man in making Vegas independent. We hatched the plan being put Mr. House out of commission and ignore all the local tribes in the area. So first thing first, delivering the chip back to Mr. House. He then demonstrated his Securitron's newfound power in his basement, so I returned the favor by going into his real basement. Some careful maneuver later, I got him out of quarantine and put a bullet into his decaying body as thanks. Volpes was still in the strip for some reason, so I took my chances. Put Yes Man into Mr. House, and I went off to send my regard to the other families in Vegas. After some looting of course, the Omegas were first on the list, and what a greeting it was. By the time I was done, I got myself some new weapons and broken limbs as welcome gift, and I gave some to the receptionist as well. Next up was the White Glove Society, but before that, I did some exercise in the fountain to display my irresistible beauty to the world, and restore some of my health. The White Glove Society received the same treatment as the Omegas did, and they were tougher to fight against. Veronica was my right hand in this situation. I had accidentally slipped my hand and killed Gunderson's hired hand and Gunderson himself. The farmers were probably above 9 cloud when this happened. Veronica punched the living soul out of Mortimer. I tried taking them on in the members room, but they absolutely obliterated me. Even after many attempts, I still couldn't manage. So I went back, talked to Marjorie who wasn't being hostile at me, stripped Mortimer naked, and made it look like he was having a hangover. I then proceeded to meet the boomers, but not before filling old band head with lead for being in my way. I stopped by the followers to buy some stim packs. Oris was generous enough to lend me some cash by selling his weapon and armor. Sometimes later, I met George who was being cocky, so I stole some of his cash. I successfully avoided the bombardment. Veronica sadly didn't. I spoke to Pearl, and after some sleep made my way to Hidden Valleys to see the Brotherhood of Steel. Veronica did her trick, and I quickly left to see the Great Khan. On my way there, I came across Mars, the Brute, and his dogs. I have never seen him before, so I was curious. Inside his body was 2 notes. One was his poem describing his journey after the Master had died, after the events of Fallout 1. Another was a self-reminder of Caroline, who loved him very much. I am a bastard, but even I couldn't let Mars' journey end like this, so I turned back time to see him live for another day. I killed a random hunter as compensation. A Great Khan was fighting an NCR soldier in Groove Spring, and died later on. I looted his shit and sold it to Chet. On my way to Great Rock Canyon, I noticed a sign saying that there was some treasure here, and I probably misunderstood it somehow, since there were only casuals welcoming there. All the treasure was getting your body burned inside out. I finally made it to Red Rock Canyon, meet Papa Cam, and returned to Yes Man for the next step. He entrusted me with planting a chip at El Dorado substation. So I did. You have godlike sneak when you killed the sleeping NCR inside and still nobody gave a shit about it. Planted the chip and returned to Yes Man, and we were prepared for the final battle at Hoover Dam. At the dam, there was a mixture of enemies all over the place. I decided to ignore them as much as I could and only kill those in my way. The plan was to reach the control room and install the override chip. I killed an NCR sniper for safety measure. Inside the control room, I encountered some heavy NCR soldier and made him sweep the floor. Install the override chip, blew Hoover Dam the hell up, and it was time for my hardest challenge yet. Going to the Legate camp and defeat Legate Lanius. Since I didn't have speech to persuade him, the Securichons arrived at the dam to cause some mayhem and turned me into a cripple as well. The Praetorian guard inside the camp was amazingly tough, capable of ending my life in one hit. Even when I reached the Legate, they were still right behind me to break my spine, so I hatched a new plan, leaving the guard to Veronica for her to buy some time and attack the Legate right away from a hiding spot. This was the hardest fight I ever had with the Legate. Not only did I have to deal with Lanius who had better weaponry than I did, there were still guards with him and they were also well equipped. I had to pick off the legionary one by one and deal with Lanius the last, and he was a bitch to fight against. Even on very easy, he still was able to withstand tons of grenades and bullets head on, plus the fact that he could heal himself slowly. After about 5 minutes of picking his heart slowly, he finally fled, allowing myself some time to breathe and level up. Not right now, Todd, for God's sake. He was about to return and prepare for round 2, but he unknowingly activated my trap card.
I'm great at punching people.
Because I had no hostile enemy when he fled, Veronica got back into the fight and f***ing annihilated the Legate. It was incredible seeing a little girl take on the Beast of the West and ended his life in 3 punches while wearing some basic clothing. I decapitated Lanius, turned Veronica into Legged Veronica, and generally in the NCR medicine right here. This man and his Securitrons came to swoop the NCR out of commission, and that was how I beat Fallout New Vegas with no skills or perks. If you enjoyed this video, press like and subscribe for further content like this. If not, drop a dislike. I am PixelMate, and I'll see you all in the next video.